Court will come to order with the prosecution and defense counsel present in cases pursuant to the Penal Code, Section 17, determining whether the defendant shall be held to answer the charge as a misdemeanor or felony. Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. In this matter, the defendant, in callous and wanton disregard for the feelings of others, willfully and with premeditation, failed and refused to convey a communication reciprocal to an electronic transmission sent by the victim on or about April 7, 2007, in violation of Code Section 425.16, Subdivision A2B.
The defendant did what?
Your Honor, the defendant ignored the victim's text message.
Okay. And then what did the defendant do?
Well, she continued to ignore the text message for an entire day and even forever. By this conduct, the defendant was clearly engaged in a felonious conspiracy to disrupt the victim's afternoon and to potentially damage her self-esteem forever. Look, I have the evidence right here. Exhibit A. The victim texted the following message to the defendant. LTNS TMB ASAP.
Oh, that's very clear.
Excuse me. Which means, long time no see, text me back as soon as possible. And right here it says it was sent April 7th, 2007 at 3:42 p.m. to 866-4356.
Excuse me, did you just say 866-4356?
That's right.
Your Honor, 866-4356 is my client's home phone number, not his cell phone number. It's evident that the defendant never even received the text message in question.
Never mind. A case, Your Honor, of malicious muni mayhem. Permit me to set the scene. The victim was waiting at Montgomery Station for the El Terraval train when, as the train approached and the doors opened, the defendant ran out of nowhere and pushed himself onto the already packed train, thereby leaving the victim stranded at the station for another 25 minutes, waiting for the next El Terraval train while 17 and Judas passed him by.
God, this is crazy.
Sure, Your Honor, it's just another missed muni ride, isn't it? But what's next? Cutting off somebody in traffic, muscling in line at the movies, parking one car in a spot large enough for two? Or taking the last bagel at Mission Java? Have we no decency, Your Honor? Have you no decency?
Oh, brother.
I'll take that one under submission.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is ridiculous.
Your Honor, as you can see, we have the defendant, the victim, present in court. During the period between February 1 and February 14, 2008, the defendant caused severe harm, damage, injury, and emotional distress to the victim by perpetrating a continual trespass, abuse, and/or series of trespasses and abuses in the workplace, including, without limitation, maligning the victim with the intent to commit grievous personal injury and assaulting the victim with a dangerous weapon, to wit, her mouth.
Excuse me?
She totally dissed me, Judge.
Your Honor, this is highly irregular. She can't...
It all started on my first day on the job, Your Majesty. I was sitting there at my desk, and the defendant walked right by me without saying hello. And I tried to put it out of my mind, but I kept thinking about it. And one day, I brought cookies for somebody's birthday, and I gave them to her. And she thanked me in a reptilian sort of way. And there have been so many times where she went out to lunch with our coworkers and she didn't even come get me. And finally, Your Highness, the receptionist told me that the office manager told her that the janitor said that he
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay.
That's right. He hears her say that I came into work late every day last week, which is a lie because I came in on time on Tuesday. It's like she's bad-mouthing me to the whole office, and I keep going over it again and again and again and again and again and again. And I'm just so dismayed about it.
Your Honor, let's not make a felony case out of this, Your Honor. The so-called victim is assigning motive and intent to the defendant's actions without any prior knowledge as to the state of mind of the defendant. In light of this, I motion that the so-called dissing of the dismayed be dismissed.
Your Honor, this must be found to be a felony. In terms of a potential sentence, we will be seeking
Death penalty.
What?
I'll take that one under consideration also.
Thank you.
My last case today, Your Honor, is the sad and tragic event of the egregious Evite exclusion.
Of course.
This happened between the victim and the defendant, who are friends, allegedly. Let the record reflect what happened. The defendant was throwing a going-away party for one of the victim's friends, but the victim was not on the Evite. Now, whether this was negligent or malicious, the omission deprived the victim of social status, fun, food, fellowship, and many merry memories. Instead of being able to spend her friend's last few hours out in the town with her, instead she remained at home on her couch watching reruns of Saved by the Bell.
Wait a minute. Your Honor, this matter has already been resolved. 2 months ago, in fact, in this very courtroom, yes, February 10th, 2008, the victim confronted the defendants. The defendants asked for forgiveness. She forgave them and, in turn, agreed to drop all charges. As I recall, they even hugged.
No, Your Honor. This case is not based on the underlying failure to Evite. This is a new action seeking additional compensation for the emotional pain and suffering arising from the victim's ordeal of forgiveness.
The ordeal of forgiveness?
That's right. Your Honor, for our victim, like for many others, the pain just doesn't end with the words, "I forgive you." Each time she sees the defendant, or even when she receives an Evite, she senses anguish anew. So, Your Honor, my client may have indeed forgiven the defendants, but now she is forced to live with the residual pain and long-term suffering of the defendant's negligent and felonious Evite omission.
All right, already. Your Honor, this is not a felony. I mean, it's clearly subject to the defense codified in Section 916.36, Subdivision T.
What defense is that?
It's done, it's over, move on defense. Your Honor.
You didn't plead that defense in your initial papers.
Well, that's because this is a different case now, Counselor.
Your Honor, he's clearly overstepping his bounds.
Thank you. I've heard enough. I hereby render my judgment for the defendants and clear them of all future damages regarding this particular Evite omission.
But, Your Honor, clearly he's...
Counselor, it's done. It's over. So let's all move on. Court is finally adjourned.